Of course, when I start filming, though, of course, the Jets finally start doing good against the Texans. What is up, everyone? What's going on? My name is Matthew Langer, House of the Seahawks here. And today, I hinted at it in an earlier video, but I did say I was going to be doing a kind of an evaluation on the Jets, basically saying how awful of a franchise that they are and how they are just in an absolute disaster and how it's most likely going to get a lot worse for them. So, yeah, Jets fans, I would actually not recommend watching this video because I'm just going to be sending your lives into utter depression. But just as you always say, just end the suffering. So, yeah, if you like today's video or if you agree with what I'm saying, though, you can give it a like right down below, though. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, MattWleInger. That should be right, though. But yeah, then let's get right on into this stuff. So, yeah, the Jets right now are 5-8, currently not in the playoff hunt. Looks like they are going to be eliminated. I know they beat the Texans, and I know they actually looked really good doing it, though. Zach Wilson actually looked really good, except for a fumble. But we won't talk about that part, though. But in general, the Jets are just a massive disaster right now, and it's currently about to get a whole lot worse. So yeah, I got 10 points on why the Jets are just not in good hands right now. And so one of them is, of course, the Jets. What the Jets actually stands for, just on the suffering, of course, not exactly. It's for the airplane Jets. But just in general, though, I don't really know what the Jets do because it's just bad right now. So first, let's go into coaching staff, and then of course we'll get into the elephant in the room and Aaron Rodgers in just a little bit. That's how bad this is going to be. So first of all, your offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, which we'll get into him in a little bit, though. He definitely looks like he's going to get fired at the end of the year. They currently have one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Jets fans are frustrated with him, and with all the talent that he has on the offense, though, hasn't been able to work out. So he's probably going to get fired, and he was brought in for Aaron Rodgers. So the fact that he's going to get fired, even though he never really played with Aaron Rodgers at all, isn't entirely a good sign. Oh, that actually works much better. You can see my entire face. And then meanwhile, you also have your head coach in Robert Saleh, who's never had a winning record, though. And with his offense, the offense has not been very good. Now, yes, Zach Wilson is his quarterback, which we'll get into Zach Wilson too. But just in general, though, it doesn't look like he knows what to do with his offense. So for so long, he kept relying on Zach Wilson, and he never came up with a backup plan. And it's not the fact that he decided to roll with Zach Wilson after Aaron Rodgers went down. That's not the part. That's the part I had. It's the fact that he said no backup plan, even when there were quarterbacks like Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. Of course, there's been a lot of quarterbacks that have gone down this year. I mean, Joshua Dobbs, the Vikings, they picked him up right away after Kirk Cousins went down, though. Of course, you probably could have traded for a guy maybe like Jake Browning, for instance. No, he was like, Zach Wilson's the guy, and we're going to go with him. And for multiple weeks, yes, I know they had a little bit of a win streak going on, but it really wasn't so much Zach Wilson. It was more so the defense, though. And now the Jets don't really have an answer at quarterback, and then when they tried to roll with Tim Boyle, obviously didn't work, and now they're rolling with Trevor, and then they roll with Trevor Siemian, and then even Zach Wilson later on was like, I just don't really have any interest in playing. So the fact that he just didn't have a backup plan after Aaron Rodgers went down makes me think that Robert Saleh doesn't know how to run an offense. And I'm sure Jets fans are getting frustrated with him, which I think Robert Saleh is a good defensive coordinator. He's a good defensive coach. But after what he's done with the Jets, though, I just don't know if he's suitable for a I just don't know if he is suitable for a head coaching gig. And I definitely think there are multiple coaches out there like that. Where the biggest example, Dan Quinn. I mean, he was great with the Seahawks. He's doing great things with the Cowboys. So, but then once he took over for a whole team, he struggled. And so, no, okay, whatever. And so I wonder if Robert Saleh is just one of those coaches, which then if that is true, then I do not think this Jets offense is going to get that much better. And then just as I said, they're currently 5-8. Definitely doesn't look like they're going to make the playoffs now. But then also, there's been multiple players visibly frustrated. Hang on. Sorry about that. Yeah, as I was saying, there's also been multiple players that have been visibly frustrated. Players on the defensive side, like C.J. Mosley, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson has been frustrated though. And usually, when you have players frustrated though, sometimes it's only a matter of time. I'm not trying to spread any trade rumors or anything, but I would not at all be surprised if there are some players on the Jets that are like, "Get me out of here! You guys are just incompetent, and you have no idea what you're doing." And since the Jets actually have a very solid core around them, where they have a great running back in Breece Hall, a really good receiver in Garrett Wilson, and a top level defense, though, the last thing you want is to be frustrating them and being like, "Yeah, we don't want to sign with you guys. We don't want to play with you guys. Get me out of here." And so that's what kind of things they're looking for, and it's offense and defense, and then also just they also come with offense and defense. So you have a great defense, which the Jets defense is really good. And then you have just a bad offense where the defense is out there for too long, it's just getting tired, or it's putting up great defensive performances like it does, like it did against the Raiders, but then the offense can't do anything. So yeah, that's kind of where the Jets are at right now. And then you of course have Zach Wilson as their quarterback. And unfortunately, Zach Wilson looks like he's going to be going down as one of the biggest draft busts in NFL history. He's even getting compared to Jamarcus Russell from the Raiders. And if you remember him, well, where is it at? Yeah, long story short, Jamarcus Russell was not good. Now Jamarcus Russell's stats through the first 20 games, okay, I know Zach Wilson is farther into his career than that, though. But Jamarcus Russell's pass rating for his first 20 games was 72.2. Zach Wilson's is 70.7. Jamarcus Russell's touchdowns, 16. Zach Wilson, 13. Interceptions, Russell, 14. Zach Wilson, 16. Yards per attempt, Russell, 6.5. Zach Wilson, 6.3. Sacks, this is the worst one. Russell got sacked 38 times for the first 20 games, and Zach Wilson has gotten sacked 60. So, and Jamarcus Russell is looking like to go down as one of the worst draft busts, and is one of the worst draft busts in NFL history, which means Zach Wilson's getting compared to him, and is statistically worse than him, though, is even worse. So, yeah, that's not good for... So yeah, that's not good for the Jets, and then just as I said, with the talent, and then also with the talents, of that defense. Though the fact that Zach Wilson cannot get it done after they've built around him already, getting getting Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. Now, okay, I know Breece Hall tore his ACL in his first year though, but the Jets have done absolutely everything in their power to build around him. And I know I've been saying the Jets are a little incompetent though, but they have been doing a good job of it though, of giving him the defense, giving him a wide receiver. I know their offensive line isn't good. We'll get into that a little bit later, unfortunately though. But we've seen quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson with the Texans, Russell Wilson with the Seahawks, so where just because a quarterback has a bad offensive line, that doesn't mean they are doomed to fail. They can still succeed behind a bad offensive line. But the fact that Zach Wilson cannot succeed with a great defense and great weapons around him, though, definitely is making things look a lot worse. So he definitely looks like he's going to be going down as one of the biggest busts in NFL history. And unlike Sam Darnold, I don't think Zach Wilson is going to get signed next year. I think people are just going to kiss his ass and say goodbye. We don't really want to see you ever again, especially since in the past he has thrown his teammates under the bus. Where last year, where well, I think the final score was like 10-3, something like that, where the Patriots had like the punt return. Zach Wilson puts up a terrible score, and he doesn't hesitate and say, I never let my teammates down. You sucked that game. Your offense can only put up 3 points while your defense allows the same, but yet you're like, it wasn't my fault. I didn't let my teammates down, even though your stats are bad and your play is bad. So I don't think anyone's going to want his drama. And then, of course, you have his whole banging his mom's best friend off the field. So now he also has that problem as well. So no one's going to want Zach Wilson. And honestly, I don't entirely blame them, though. So he's definitely going to be going down as one of the worst draft busts in NFL history. So which means he's probably going to get axed at the end of the season. And then you also have your first round pick. Now, on the bright side, though, the one bright side, the Jets do have a first round pick. So that part there is good because they were going to be giving the Green Bay Packers a first round pick if Aaron Rodgers played 65% of the snaps. So on the bright side, though, Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles before he plays in. But then also, if you are the Jets, what do you do with that first round pick? Obviously, it does look like it's going to be significantly high, but do you draft an offensive lineman, which you do need offensive line help, because in total, there have been 54 sacks. I believe 55. There have been 55 sacks. There have been 55 sacks from the New York Jets all season. Zach Wilson has been sacked 42 times. Tim Boyle has been sacked 9 times. Trevor Siemian sacked 3 times. And of course, Aaron Rodgers sacked 1 time, which was the one play he tore his Achilles. So if you add that up, I cleared out of it. Why did I do that, though? That was stupid. So yeah, 42 plus 9, 53. Wait. Oh, no, my bad. It's actually more than 55. Yeah, 42 plus 9, 53. No, 51. Oh, yeah, Trevor Siemian 3, 54. Okay, yeah, you're right, 55. And the Aaron Rodgers 1. So the fact that they've given up 55 sacks at this point in the season is definitely not a particularly good thing. So you definitely need offensive line help, which I don't think would be a terrible decision if they draft. But then we'll get into the Aaron Rodgers thing in just a little bit, though. But also, do you draft a quarterback? Because Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. We'll get into his injury in a little bit, though. But do you also ignore the offensive line position and just go, we're going to move on with another quarterback, though? Which I don't think that would be a bad decision, except for the fact that the Jets haven't had a franchise quarterback since, probably Joe Namath, though. Which, when was that? The 60s? That might be my fault. I was born in 2000, so I've never really known the Jets having a quarterback. The best quarterback I've seen the Jets have is Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez, who did the butt fumble. So that shows that the Jets have been very incompetent throughout my entire life. Also, the last 2 quarterbacks they've drafted in the early rounds was Sam Darnold, which Sam Darnold looks like a bust as well. But unlike Sam Darnold, the Jets just failed to build around him. And then you draft Zach Wilson, especially when the Jets had a chance to tank and get Trevor Lawrence, which who knows if Trevor Lawrence would have still worked out, though. But if you compare the two, Trevor Lawrence definitely has the better resume, even though he is kind of meh with the Jaguars right now. But that is a completely different story that we're not going to get into. So the Jets kind of screwed up in getting Zach Wilson. They screwed up getting Zach Wilson when they could have gotten Trevor Lawrence. But then also, Zach Wilson has also been a bust. So if you draft a quarterback, though, I don't trust that he's going to be good because your track record for drafting quarterbacks isn't really good. So now, I don't trust Jets upper management right now. So, just as I said, head coach and offense coordinator, don't trust them. I don't trust upper management. You got multiple players frustrated, though. And then, oh boy. So let's get into Aaron Rodgers right now. I mean, first of all, now the Jets are going to have to deal with the drama of the Aaron Rodgers, will he retire, will he not retire? Because for the past couple of years, that drama has just been catastrophic, where he'll go on the Darkness Tree, he'll go on the Pat McAfee show. It's been bad, and I think the Packers are just so sick of it. And I was even talking to my uncle, who just recently, and he's a Packers fan, and he says Packer fans are overjoyed that Aaron Rodgers is gone. I've seen stuff on GPS with Tom Grossi and Brandon Perna, and Tom Grossi has been like, Jet Packer fans are so happy. They're like, we don't have to deal with this anymore. Now, the fact that Aaron Rodgers was kind of hinting at maybe coming back later in the season makes me think he'll come back in some shape or form. Maybe, I don't know. But in general, here's the big question for the Jets, though. Are the Jets willing to bring back a 40-year-old quarterback coming off a torn Achilles? I don't know if you want to, though. And the thing that I was so curious about when the Jets signed Aaron Rodgers is I wasn't like, oh my gosh, the Jets are Super Bowl contenders, but I wasn't like, oh, the Jets are going to be one of the most overhyped teams. I was very curious. I was very curious to see what was going to happen because, of course, Aaron Rodgers has back-to-back MVP seasons with Davante Adams. Davante Adams leaves, and Rodgers basically has to deal with rookie receivers. And I don't think Christian Watson was bad, but if you compare Christian Watson and Davante Adams, you are out of your mind. Davante Adams is clearly better than him. And then they also lost Nathaniel Hackett as well. And then, of course, he had his whole Denver thing, which we're not going to discuss either. So, though, the fact that they brought him in made me go, oh, okay, that actually kind of gets me a little bit excited and like made me think that, hey, maybe Aaron Rodgers can bounce back after not the best season of his career last year, where he threw double-digit interceptions for the first time in quite some time. But also, Aaron Rodgers was 38 last year, and excluding Tom Brady, guys like Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, okay, although Drew Brees was 40 though, usually when veteran quarterbacks get into the late 30s, they start to regress. And I was like, okay, is Aaron Rodgers at that point yet? Or is it because he doesn't really have the best supporting cast around him? So when the Jets brought him in, I was like, hey, he's got a great defense, Garrett Wilson, and then since they brought in Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, Dalvin Cook, I was like, I think it's very possible for the Jets to bounce back. But everyone the Jets brought in for Aaron Rodgers, of course, just as I said, Nathaniel Hackett, worst offensive coordinator in the NFL, Allen Lazard, healthy scratch for games, Billy Turner, absolute turnstile on the offensive line. Randall Cobb, 3 catches, 12 targets, 12 yards. And then, of course, you have Dalvin Cook, 3 yards per carry, no touchdowns. Where you could probably look at the Jets before the offseason, you could be like, man, the Jets won the offseason with the Aaron Rodgers and all these other players they brought in, though. Well, every single one of these trades have sucked. They have not been good. So do you run it on back again, or do you try to sign a guy do you try to bring in Davante Adams? Because I don't think he's sticking around with the Raiders. I mean, he wanted to play with Derek Carr. Now Derek Carr is gone though. I don't understand why Davante Adams would want to stay in Las Vegas, especially since Adams is getting close to 30 though. I'm sure he's going to want to chase a ring since he doesn't have one though. So do the Jets try to bring in someone like that, or do they just release him and move on? Which then, if you release him and move on, then you have to draft a quarterback in the first round. Which then, just I said, I don't trust that you're going to make the right decision at quarterback. And then also, since Aaron Rodgers only played 4 plays, you can't really evaluate that. It was a run play. Then Aaron Rodgers had to throw the ball away. Then there was a penalty, and then he got sacked. You can't really grade that and be like, Aaron Rodgers was amazing with the Jets before. It was like, he sucked. It's like, no, you can't grade that, though. I mean, quarterbacks start out 0-1 all the time with getting a sack and a throwaway, but no one's like, oh, they suck. That's not enough tape to evaluate, though. With Russell Wilson last year, yes, Russell Wilson wasn't good, and he's definitely having a much better season this year, but you could at least have... Okay, I know Russell Wilson missed a couple games. You could at least see a good majority of the season to be like, yeah, Russell Wilson sucked last year in Denver. But then, of course, there was, his coach was an idiot. There was the injuries and stuff, though. And now that it looks like Russell Wilson is a better fit in Denver, though, you can at least evaluate that better than what Aaron Rodgers is. Since he only played 4 plays, you cannot evaluate that and say Aaron Rodgers was perfect with the Jets because he only played 4 plays. So what do you really do if you are the Jets? So if you're the Jets, honestly, what do you do? Do you try to run it back with Rodgers? But since he's 40 years old, coming off a torn Achilles, will he be able to be the same quarterback? And if he's not the same quarterback, then you're basically going to be having the same problems this year. And since it will be happening for 3 years in a row, though, you're probably going to be pissing off players, and they're like, yeah, and they will definitely be like, get me out of here, though. Or do you try to draft a quarterback and maybe see if he's the answer? Now, look, here's the thing. Maybe the Jets draft someone like Michael Penix or Bo Nix, though, or maybe even Jaden Daniels, who just won the Heisman, though, or I don't know. Maybe the Jets can somehow get Caleb Williams, though. And look, maybe they're a star. Who knows? Or maybe they can trade for a guy like Justin Fields, or maybe they want to bring in Kirk Cousins, which I don't think that would be a good idea, though, but who knows? Who said that since the Jets' track record isn't good with quarterbacks, though, who says that they're going to be good? So that's just a situation that I just think the Jets are in right now. I don't know what they do, but I'm like, it's going to be a bad offseason for the Jets. So I'm a Seahawks fan. It's not good for us right now. We're 0-4 in our last 4 games. It definitely looks like we're collapsing. Shane Waldron's on the hot seat. People aren't happy with Clint Hurt, though. No one's happy with Geno Smith. It's not looking very good for the Seahawks right now, but at least we're not the Jets. That's the one thing I just want to say, that with Jets. And I definitely think there's other teams that are not in good positions. The Browns, the Giants, the Bears, definitely the Panthers, though. So, but to me, the Jets are in a situation where I'm like, I just have no idea what they do because nothing seems like a good option. Nothing seems safe. And all I can tell is that this offseason, oh my gosh, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Sorry, my sister texted me. The only thing I know is that it's going to be a bad offseason for the Jets. And it's not going to be fun. Seahawks, it's not going to be fun either because, of course, all our coaches are going to be under fire and our quarterback's going to be under fire. But I at least see a little hope for the Seahawks, though, because I think we're in a better situation, though, because we have good receivers. Though, the Jets, I just don't know what they do. I don't know. I don't know what the right option is. I don't know what they should do. And it's going to be bad for the Jets. So, Jets fans, I am so sorry. And prayers. Really, I think that's really all I can say. Maybe I'll do a Seahawks evaluation one later where I'll be like kind of what I want to see from the offseason. I'll probably do that one probably next year, though. But yeah, let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Do you think the Jets are in the worst situation in the NFL? Do you agree with what I say? Yeah, just let me know. You can follow me on social media. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, MATTAGWLEINININGER. And I'll see you guys next time.